All right, after the first two coats of the primary color, we went ahead and dirt specced any dirt that might have been in the paint, which wasn't too many. And then once those are taken and removed with, like I said, I use a Kovacs Lemon 800 paper. It's great for working on base. And so I do little tiny X patterns, you know, and then until you can kind of see a little bit of a halo around it, but it's been knocked down. And then I base those in and blend them in. Then I put the third final coat on it to have full color with all the panels on and together. And then we just put one drop coat, some orientation coat, and that's where you spray it about 2 feet, a foot and a half, 2 feet above, and you just drop the flakes nice and evenly on the panels to make sure you got the right consistent orientation for the flakes. This is 90 line glazerite, so that's their waterborne, and a lot of times the drop coat will also have, if you have any light tiger striping or imperfection in your spray pattern, then you just drop that coat on there, and you usually go drop the air pressure and go diagonal across lightly just to kind of melt in those stripes or light or dark spots. But with the waterborne, you don't even really have to go to that 45-degree angle. You can just drop it, like I said, about 1.5 feet, 2 feet above, and you just go slow, and then that drops all the flakes nice and evenly on the panels. So really, really happy with it. So now it's time to mask off our offset stripe with a 1/2 inch outer stripe. It's going to go down the full length of the car. As you can see, it's all completely together, so it's kind of expensive because you got to do, it's like a final assembly twice for this. But all the panels have to be on, and of course everything, doors are built off your quarter, your fenders are built off your fender, or fender off your door. Then you got your hood replacement and your gap setting. So it takes a lot, and you got to be really careful not to hit an edge. But that's where we're at right now, so it's time to start laying some stripes. Hello, well, we got the primary color all down and ended it with a fourth drop coat, so you get full color on that last coat, and then, like I said, about 1.5 feet, 2 feet with the turn down pressure, and that allows the flakes to all drop evenly across all the panels. You can see it's pretty much like a final assembly, so it's pretty spendy for the customer, but you know, it's really necessary to make sure that all these lines are all lined up together. So this is what I did. Everything starts right off of this dead center line. And then what I did is I measured, I was originally going to go 6.5 inches off, but it came up that the striped color was going to go right in the middle of that windshield wiper area, and that was just going to be too complicated, so I changed it to 7 and then just kept the same measurements off. So it's going to have 7 inches off dead center, 6-inch stripe, 1/4 inch green will be in between the final outside stripe, which is about 1/2 inch. So I've got it masked up. I used a laser level. It took some time to make sure everything was great, but it is laser straight now. And so now we do use car bag, but for added insurance, I always use poly paper, paint resistant, paper. So what I'll do is you can go over the plastic or below the plastic, but just in case there's one small little pinhole or some imperfection in the plastic. So the reason is if you have to go back and mask off the color I'm about to do to catch up anything that might have happened, that's just that extra bit of labor and cost. So also super important that you do not really disrupt the flakes on the primary color. And that, so every time I'm touching it, I'm using my hand on the tape, keeping my body away from it, because again, that one little tiny wipe in the wrong direction or too much will cause those flakes. It'll remove some of the color pigments of the flake, because the way we see it is the light goes to the flakes through the pigments, and then it bounces off those flakes or pearls, comes back through the material, and that's what our eyes see. So if you just change one little bit of some of that flake, it'll show up really bright. So yeah, I've got it ran all the way across. We got the hood into the cowl, into the roof, followed it down to the rear panel and into the deck lid. And this is another thing that's really important, is you got to protect that color that we just did. So I've got it, and I've got to be able to open this because we like to have the stripes flow nice and clean all the way to that seam, and even probably down to there. I masked it off all the way down below, so I can take the stripe all the way there if I wanted to. All that's not visible, but you can also just stop it right there. So that's where I'm at now, and like I said, the color's going to be Spectrum Metallic, and it's going to be excellent. So I'm really excited. The customer is going to be really happy with this. It's really what he was looking for to get, so it's great. Might have seen me use a heat gun earlier, and this is just a trick of the trade. So what that does is you heat up these corners, and you can, it's almost like saran wrap. It'll actually adhere there, because a lot of times this fine line tape will want to pull away at an area like that. So if you're ever going around reverse curves doing graphics, that's a really good way. I was actually shown by a great guy named Justin Stockwell, and I've been using it ever since. So yeah, I'm going to continue masking off the stripe off of the stripe line, and then I'm going to bag the car, and then I'm going to get to spraying that second color.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip, and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it, how you gonna move for it, what you gonna be? And do you believe we can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it?